Hi, my name's Hank Chafin. I just recuperating from hip surgery. It was such an ordeal as I was leading up to this surgery that I had to make definite decisions about doing something about it. I had bought 2 lounge chairs. I was unable to get in and out of my chairs. I couldn't even swing the golf club. And having that been part of my life for the last 45 years, I decided I'm going to have to do something. So I researched many of the doctors in the Dayton area, and after sorting through them, I come up with Dr. Bauman, and I went to him, set up an appointment, and he offered to give me cortisone shot treatment first. Once we had that, after about 3 or 4 days, it worked for about 3 or 4 days, and then after that, nothing. The pain was back. So I called him right away and I said, listen, I'm ready for surgery. He said, okay, let's set the date. So we set the date and we moved ahead. May 14th, he performed the surgery, and since then I've been a new man. When you think about pain, the pain that I was experiencing was pain that you wouldn't expect. It was a kind of a pain, shooting pain. It was both in the front portion of my hip and in the back portion of my hip. And when I would go to rise up out of a chair, it just shot right up my back. And then, when I'd go out to play golf, I'd take the golf club back just about halfway, and I could feel the pain shooting up my back, and it prohibited me from taking the golf swing like it's supposed to be taken. And not that golf is the most important thing in the world, yet it was a part of my life, and I did not want to give it up at such an early age of 71. Some of the difficult things that I had to go through, I feel, was we had 19 steps at our home goes down to the basement, and I would have to hold to both sides of the railing on the steps going down, coming up, to even transfer myself from one portion of our house to the other portion. And this was difficult at best. I also had difficulty, and as I said before, I could not perform the golf swing. And one of the other things that was really difficult was getting in and out of the car. I drive a truck, and every time I would go and get in the truck, I had to hold the door with my left hand and get my right leg swinging, and then I would swing it up into the truck, and then I would slide my right arm and pull myself in. So there was a definite pain level that I did not want to endure, and I knew I must do something and do something quick. I had fear. Being a jock all my life, playing sports, I've had broken legs, broken wrist, hernia surgery, and I've had a lot of experience in injuries, and I was really afraid, realizing that this was a big bone. This was not a little finger or a wrist. It was the biggest bone that provided support for my body. And I had great fear. I had great fear about going through this surgery, and that was one of the hardest things I had to overcome. And I will say this, Dr. Bauman was the chief person in helping me to overcome that. He had a way about himself that just instilled within me a confidence that I knew he could do this to my satisfaction. Got in the car with my wife, and we drove to Miami Valley South, and this person met us at the front door. It was still dark. And I thought, hey, they're ready for me. They're ready to take me in. They took me to the waiting area, and I was there hardly no time. And then they ushered me right on into the room where the surgery was going to take place and showed it to me. Then they put me in a prep room and just let me know that Dr. Bauman would be here, and everything was going as planned. And lo and behold, the next thing I knew, he was there, and we were in surgery, and it was over. And I woke up. I said, have you started yet? When are we going to do this? And he looked at me and he kind of smiled. He said, it's done. I was shocked. I could not believe myself. And my wife was there in the room, and my son and my granddaughter Elizabeth. And I was shocked. The day had started out with a lot of fear, and now here I was through it. Victory. Victory was mine, and I felt awful good about it. Let me just tell you about the staff there at the hospital. It seemed like that every time I was in need of something, maybe that I had a little pain coming on, a nurse was standing at the door. I mean, I did not ever have to toot the buzzer that they had on the bed. Never once did I ever have to toot that throughout the night. Well, when I started the rehab, Dr. Bauman was very confident in me. He had a lot of trust in me, just as I had in him when I chose him to be my surgeon. He had confidence that I could do the rehab without supervision. They had taken me down to the rehab section there at the hospital, and I did all the things that they had to do there, and so everything I did very well. And so when it was time for me to go home, he told me, and the nurses told me what I was to do, my rehab, how many repetitions, how many of this and how many of that, and I followed it to the letter. And I think that probably had something to do with my quick recovery. I was just in last week to see Dr. Bauman. He looked at me and he said, "You don't need to see me." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You can do anything you want to do." So I heard about you winning the golf tournament. So and I feel that way. I feel like that his help, the Miami Valley South staff, the people there, they really instill in you a want to let them know you appreciate them. And I guess that's about the best way I can say it. I really do appreciate the treatment that I received from the time I stepped in the front door till the time I left. They put me in my vehicle to go home. It seemed like they were just my servants, and they were, in a sense. They waited on me hand and foot, took care of me, and I'm pretty well today. I'm looking forward to these next several years. To be honest, I had felt like I was on the downhill slide, that the sun was setting on me, but not now. It's just coming up.